What's up, everybody? My name is Sucker. In today's video, I'm going to be predicting everything about the NBA season because we made it. This is the last day without basketball for a very, very long time, so I'm going to be looking at the entirety of the upcoming NBA season. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like rating on it. Check out my socials down in the description as well, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference, teams that I have in the lottery, in the play-in game, in the playoffs, in the conference finals, in the finals, the team I have winning the finals, and the awards that I actually care about. I don't care about, who's winning Sixth Man of the Year, quite frankly, but I will predict a handful of the awards. With that said, let's get started. In the Eastern Conference, got to pick 5 teams that are in the lottery that do not make the play-in game. My 5 teams are not necessarily in order. Detroit to start it off, there might be something here down the road in Detroit. They've tried to be a little bit better this upcoming season, bringing in guys like Kelly Olynyk. I really like Cade Cunningham. There's just not enough talent here. Maybe there could be some moves made where they do trade Jeremy Grant and play more for the future. Maybe there's a good Killian Hayes season here. They've got some pieces to build with. Saddiq Bey, Cade Cunningham, of course, but I have them in the lottery for this upcoming season. Next, the Orlando Magic, which I believe right now are the favorite to have the worst record in the entire league. Again, it's just a talent issue. Jonathan Isaac, Markelle Fultz coming off of injuries despite being very talented players. I really like Jalen Suggs. They've got the Wagner kid. But there's just not enough real legitimate NBA talent here. They hit the reset button last year when they traded away guys like Vucevic and Aaron Gordon and Evan Fournier. And it's going to be an interesting team. There'll be times when I'm going to put the Magic on to see how Suggs is developing, to see how Markelle Fultz continues to recover from his injury. But this is more than likely a team where you're going to see guys like Terrence Ross get shipped off to potential contenders throughout the year, continue to gain assets, and we'll see what they have for us later down the road. Next up, the Washington Wizards. I thought about putting them in the play-in game. Bradley Beal is obviously an incredible player, and down the stretch last year, once they kind of figured out some things and got healthy, they were a very good basketball team. No more Russell Westbrook there. Roster is a bit in flux. I think there's some decent depth here, and I do like Spencer Dinwiddie as a player, but he is coming off an injury, and it really just came down to a numbers thing. You'll see when we get to the play-in teams. There's teams that I really like in that play-in group, and I just couldn't fit another team in there just because of the way the numbers work out. So I have Washington as the last team out of the play-in in the East. 2 other teams here, Cleveland, who I think is going to be improved. I like some of their options in the front court. Colin Sexton, Darius Garland certainly provide them scoring in the backcourt. Isaac Okoro on the wing as well. But again, it just comes down to, do I think that Cleveland is better than the other 10 teams that I have listed in the play-in and above in the East? Unfortunately, no. Toronto, again, I think these are the 3 teams in the East that you could look at as it's kind of a top 13, and then the other 2, Orlando and Detroit, are way beneath everybody else in the East. Toronto, I made a video about them the other day. They could be a sneaky playoff team that ends up with the 6th seed because they've got all these great defenders, and Nick Nurse, really just has a great coaching season, but unfortunately, I just don't think the talent is there. There could be a Siakam trade here. They might be trading away Goran Dragic. I think they're a year away, and I think it would be really smart for them to just halfway tank this year, get another top 5 pick alongside Scotty Barnes, develop Scotty Barnes this upcoming season, and then they'll be really good moving forward. Those are my 5 non-play-in teams. Now we move to the play-in. 4 teams here. I begin with the Charlotte Hornets, a team that I've been talking about a lot this offseason as a team that I do like. They were a very, very good team last year before Gordon Hayward and LaMelo Ball got hurt. They were in the top 5 in the Eastern Conference standings, and I can't put them outside of the play-in game knowing that their roster is good enough to be a top 5 team in the East when fully healthy. The reason they would be outside of the play-in game is if Gordon Hayward gets hurt, which seems to be a pretty likely thing year after year here. But I believe in LaMelo. I believe in some of the exciting wings and front court guys they have. They short up the 5 spot a little bit. Great guard rotation. I'm in on the Hornets. Next up, the New York Knicks. A little bit down on them this season, so I do have them in the play-in game despite them finishing in the top half of the conference last season, but it's just a bit of regression for me. I know that they brought in Kemba, they brought in Evan Fournier. Their backcourt is going to be better. Tibbs is going to have these guys playing hard every single night, but there's regression in 2 ways. One, defensively, they were awesome last year, but the one number everybody continues to point to is their opponent shot really, really poorly from 3 last year. Some of that had to do with New York, but part of that as well, I think, will just kind of go back to a bit more towards the middle, which is going to affect their record certainly. And then I think the East is better within this top 6 that is, inside of this non-play-in group. So I have New York in the play-in game. The Indiana Pacers, again, another good team. You can see how deep the East really is within this top 10, and you can include, the Cavs, Raptors, and Wizards in that as well within this top 13. Any of those 13 teams, in my opinion, could be in the play-in or above. The Pacers have a new coach. They've got certainly a ton of different options with what they could do with this roster in terms of trades, but I just like the depth that they have. They have a ton of different options at each position, and I think it's definitely an upgrade in the coaching spot for them last year. Wouldn't be surprised to see them finish in the top 6 this year rather than just in the play-in game. And then the surprising one, I have the Chicago Bulls in the play-in game. When you look at the rest of the conference, I'm telling you, I know it might seem strange to put them here with all the flashy moves they made this offseason. They've got Lonzo now. Levine should be really, really good again this year. Vucevic should be well integrated into the team. I don't see enough defense in this group. I know that Lonzo is an improved and above average NBA defender, and Patrick Williams is there as well. I just don't see how they're going to be able to guard consistently. I don't love the fit of their roster in terms of all the guys they brought in. It feels too guard heavy. I don't know how they're going to be able to integrate all those guys and get all their best 5 players on the court at the same time. So that makes me nervous. I don't think Chicago is going to be bad, but I think they're going to be the 7th seed. And you're going to see that the top 6 in the East is really, really good. It's no disrespect to them putting them as the 7th seed. Here are the playoff teams. We'll go with the 1 and the 2 seed, and then we'll go from there. With the 1 seed, I do have the Brooklyn Nets. The reason this wouldn't happen would be if, Harden or Durant gets hurt, or if they're just not super invested in being a really good regular season team. And it's more so about getting to the playoffs, making sure everybody's healthy and rested, making sure everybody's well integrated. There are going to be nights where James Harden takes the night off and it's Kevin Durant and Cam Thomas and Patty Mills trying to create offense. I'm just kind of assuming that Kyrie Irving is not involved in this scenario. Of course, there is the upside that Kyrie could return to the team at some point, but even without him, the talent is there. They're going to be able to score. They're going to be a really good regular season team, and they've got a surprising amount of depth, I would say, as well, to get them through the regular season. I have them as the 1 seed. The 2 seed I have is the Milwaukee Bucks. These are the top 2 teams in the East, in my opinion, at least until Philly figures out what they're going to do with the Ben Simmons situation. Doesn't feel anywhere close to resolved for me. Giannis is amazing. They're coming off of a championship run. I have them as the 2 seed. Then my other 4 playoff teams in the East that aren't in the play-in game, we're going not necessarily in order here. Philly, even with the Ben Simmons situation being up in the air, they're a top 3 or top 4 team for me in the East this upcoming season, assuming Embiid is fully healthy the entire year. Atlanta, there's going to be a jump from them in the regular season in the regular season record, at least based off the playoff success that they had last year and a full season of Nate McMillan. Trae Young is going to be awesome, potential scoring leader in my opinion. Trae Young. I've got Miami. I went back and forth between Miami, Boston, and Chicago for 2 out of these 3 spots because I felt like really it was between those 3 teams and then Indiana, 2 of them in the play-in game, 2 of them not. I went with Miami here because I like the roster better. We could see a better Tyler Hero season this upcoming season. The thing that would make me nervous is if they really don't take the regular season all that seriously because they do have an aging roster, and Chicago is really not going to want to be in the play-in game. They're going to want to make the playoffs for real. I just like the roster better for Miami. And then Boston, I like the new coach. I think they have 2 really good wings, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. If they're fully healthy, it feels like a more streamlined team. It feels like a team that has a ton of different options. I really like Boston. So that's my top 6, my play-in, and my 5 lottery teams in the East. Now let's do the same thing in the Western Conference. In the lottery, I have first up the Houston Rockets. An interesting team. Really like Jalen Green. Tons of rookies. The focus is not on winning basketball games this upcoming season for Houston. The focus is on developing the young guys, figuring out Christian Wood's place in the roster, and getting value out of Eric Gordon and John Wall on the trade market. Next up, the New Orleans Pelicans. I want this team to be good. I love the talent. I love Zion. I love Brandon Ingram. It just constantly feels like a disaster. We went from Zion being ready for opening night to 5 days later. We have no idea when Zion's going to be back. We still have to get these scans back to Zion's not going to be back for opening night. TBD, no timetable for a return. Feels like a disaster. I'm staying away. It's not a situation I want to be involved in when it comes to a prediction. I don't think New Orleans is going to make the play-in game this upcoming season, and they're going to be looking for probably a new general manager, potentially a new city here moving forward for New Orleans. Next up, Oklahoma City. They're not trying to make the playoffs. They've got Josh Giddey. They've got Shea. They've got Lou Dort. They're going to continue to try and grow and develop players, continue to stockpile assets. No surprise here. San Antonio, I also have in the lottery. It feels weird to be projecting San Antonio as a bottom 5 team in the West, but I think that is what their roster reflects. The only counter to this would just be the institutional knowledge of San Antonio with Greg Popovich as head coach, with the front office, with the organization, with the development staff that they have, continuing to grow and develop, the guards on this roster, the big guys, all these different guys that they have. There are plenty of options. There's just, in my opinion, not enough high-level talent to get them to the playoffs in a very heavily contested and talented Western Conference. And the last up, it's the Sacramento Kings. When you look at the way this conference breaks down, one of these like constantly disappointing teams is gonna be in the play-in game. The Pelicans, the Kings, or the Timberwolves. Unless the Spurs step up and have a much better season than most people think, one of those three teams is going to be in the play-in game, and it's going to be a really significant accomplishment for them. I personally do not have that team as either Sacramento or New Orleans, but I do think that it's an interesting one. I think Sacramento is going to be heavily, heavily motivated to break this playoff drought streak that they're currently on. I just don't think they're as good as this first play-in team that I have here, and that is Minnesota. I really like the way they finished the year last year. I think they figured out the head coaching thing. If Towns is healthy and the other guys are alongside him, this is a play-in caliber team in the Western Conference, and I really hope we get to see it. I have the Minnesota Timberwolves as a play-in team. Next up, Memphis. Just pencil them in for a top 10 seed in the West moving forward. Just if Ja Morant's healthy, this is a team that is going to win enough games. They're going to care enough. They're going to guard. They've got plenty of depth. Are they going to be a significant threat in the playoffs? No, but as we've talked about in previous videos, that's not really their plan. They're trying to add high upside players. They need to continue to see what they have in Jaren Jackson as they prepare to potentially pay him. The focus isn't the playoffs for this upcoming season for Memphis, but regardless, I think they do get to the play-in game. Next up, it gets very, very tough. Let me read you the 10 teams left that we haven't talked about yet in the Western Conference, and you tell me who the two play-in teams are left out of this 10. Two of these teams have to make the play-in game, okay? The Suns, Lakers, Jazz, Nuggets, Warriors, Mavs, Blazers, Clippers. You tell me who the two play-in teams are out of that. You have to pick two. First up, I went Portland. They felt like a relatively obvious choice. Unless you think that Golden State is really going to struggle before Clay comes back and you don't believe in the young guys they have on the roster, or you think there's going to be some injury issues or some more regression by Draymond Green, unless you think any of those things are going to occur, I feel like Portland is an obvious choice for the play-in game here. There have been some improvements bringing in guys like Larry Nance, but the Dame thing is still weird to me, and they just seem to always have an injury issue, whether it be CJ, whatever the case may be. I just think that they are the 10th, 9th best team in the West, and that puts them in the play-in game. And then next up, this was literally impossible. I feel really good about the Warriors being a top 6 team. Luka's going to be awesome for the Mavs. Jokic is going to be able to carry the Nuggets in the regular season, even without Jamal Murray. I can't put the Lakers in the play-in game in a prediction based off the talent they have on the roster. Same thing with the Jazz and the Suns. So I'm putting the Clippers in a play-in game. I don't know where else to put them. Kawhi, we're probably not going to see him for the entire season. And Paul George was very good at certain points in the postseason last year and definitely proved a lot of people wrong when it comes to doubting him in the postseason. But I just don't know what to do with the rest of this roster. I mean, I'm looking at like Reggie Jackson and Luke Kennard and Marcus Morris. And the more I looked at it, I was like, well, if Paul George needs to rest or if he misses a couple of weeks, like this is a play-in team for me. And it's absolutely brutal to think that that's going to be the case. But without Kawhi out there, I had to pick a team, and the Clippers are a play-in team for me. Now we go to our seeding in the playoffs in the Western Conference for our 6 playoff teams. I went with the Phoenix Suns as a 1 seed. I think they're a team that is certainly underrated. I would like for them to get this DeAndre Ayton contract thing figured out so they don't have to worry about it anymore. But as long as Chris Paul is healthy, I think they're going to continue to ride the wave of not only a successful regular season last year, but also making the finals. I really like Phoenix as one of the better teams in the West this upcoming season, and a team that people, I think, are certainly sleeping on. 2 seed, Utah. I don't love this Utah team in the playoffs. That continues to be an issue for them. I've said before that Utah could set the regular season wins record. They could win 75 games this year, and still nobody would take them seriously in the postseason. Even with that being said, 1, I don't think they're going to set the regular season wins record, but 2, I think they're a very, very good regular season team. They proved that last year. Tons of continuity. They continue to bring the same guys back year after year. Rudy Gay provides them a little bit more versatility, and I like them better in the regular season than some of these other teams we're going to mention. 3rd seed, I have the Lakers. The rest of this is not in order, but I do have the Lakers right behind the Suns and the Jazz. It just comes down to how seriously are they going to take the regular season? Are we going to see a lot of LeBron rest, Anthony Davis rest? It's going to take some time to integrate not only Russell Westbrook, but the other like 9 new players that they brought in to this roster this offseason. So again, I don't think there's anything wrong with the Lakers. It's just they might be taking the regular season less seriously than a team like Utah or Phoenix. Still going to be a huge threat in the postseason. Then we have, again, in no particular order, throw my hands up. No idea what to do with these three teams. Nuggets, Mavs, Warriors. Nuggets, no Jamal Murray. Jokic is going to continue to be awesome, though. Michael Porter Jr. is going to get more opportunities. They've got Aaron Gordon for the entire season. They're going to be very good. Dallas, love Luka. He will probably be one of the favorites for the MVP this upcoming season. And I have no reason to believe they're not going to be a top 6 team. And if KP can improve and find a new role in this offense, and Jason Kidd does a good job of coaching this team, I can certainly see them even being higher than, the 6th seed. If the Jason Kidd thing doesn't go well, which I'm not fully confident in, they could switch with the Clippers and be a play-in team, but we'll TBD on that. And then I already talked about the Warriors a little bit as well. I have them as a top 6 team. In terms of the conference finals, on both sides. In the East, I have Bucks Nets in the conference finals. I think those are the two best teams. I think that those are the two teams that have the most continuity. And the big wild card there is what is going to happen with Kyrie by the time we get to playoff time. And of course, are these two teams healthy? In the West, I've got the Suns and the Lakers. Again, it's a playoff issue for me for Utah. I think the Suns are very, very good. And again, a team that people are sleeping on. Ayton matches up really well with most of the bigs in the West. And then the Lakers, I just can't go against the talent right now in terms of, Russ and Anthony Davis and LeBron. Even if I don't love the at certain points, I can't go against them. In the finals, I've got Suns Nets. I think Phoenix is a little bit deeper than the Lakers. And I just don't trust the Russ thing when it comes down to crunch time in the post. It's game 6. They're down 8 with 8 minutes to go. Down 3-2 in the series. They need a bucket, and Russ pulls up from the elbow with 20 seconds left on the shot clock in transition. And LeBron's looking around like, can we trade this guy now? Like, when is the trade deadline? I just envisioned that scenario in my head. So ultimately, I went with Phoenix. And then I went with Brooklyn. I know that the Kyrie thing is weird. I just think they're the best team in the East. There's really no other thing that I can say about them that I haven't said throughout the entirety of the videos. I've covered the entire league. And then to win the title, I've got the Nets. Again, the Kyrie thing is completely up in the air. No idea what's going to happen there. I think they're deeper than they were last year. They're going to have plenty of more time to integrate as long as they're healthy. This is a team that almost made the finals last year and arguably should have made the finals last year, even with the injury issues and not having as much continuity. I have them winning the title this year. In terms of the awards, there's only 2 that I care about, Rookie of the Year and MVP. Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go Jalen Green. I think it's between him and Cade Cunningham. I think Green is just going to be a little bit more exciting. Cade Cunningham is going to put up great stats, but he's just not going to have the hype and the highlight plays. He's not going to be a huge league pass team. Meanwhile, the Rockets have like 50 different rookies and young players that people are at least halfway interested in. They're going to be paying more attention to the Rockets, so I have Jalen Green as the Rookie of the Year. MVP, it's a boring pick, but I'm going to go with Luka. I think there's plenty of upside potentially with the seeding of the Mavs roster where they could relatively easily be like a top 3 seed if Luka's awesome, if KP is good, if Jason Kidd is a good head coach for the first time in his life. I could see plenty of upside there where the Mavs go from everybody thinking they're going to be a top 6 team to being a top 3 team, and Luka gets the MVP. Other guys to pay attention to, it could just be a weird MVP year, and we could just default to LeBron. Maybe Giannis wins another one. There's a lot of different options you can go with MVP, and I really struggle with this one, but ultimately I'm going to go with Luka. And that is my prediction for every single thing that's going to happen in this upcoming NBA season. I think I did it in one take as well, which I always love. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like rating on it. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think is going to happen this NBA season, and enjoy the basketball tomorrow. Happy to have the league back, and it's going to be a super, super fun 82-game season plus the playoffs, hopefully for everyone involved. Hope you guys have an awesome rest of your Monday, and this was a good start to your week, I hope. Once again, my name is Tucker, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace, fellas.